can find that you can stand and do what is right. Here along your shores, your hungry knees, you beg for one's love, but you are on your knees. But they'll never change. Did you arrange to spend the rest of time in a higher state of mind?
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for stopping by episode 9 of Higher Minds. Today we have a special guest, one I'm excited about. A lot of you probably know who we'll be talking to tonight. We'll be talking some astrology, charts, stuff like that, and even taking a few questions in the chat if you got anything that we're talking about, something you need clarification on. So tonight we'll be talking to Golden Sai. Welcome, Sai. How are you doing tonight?
Good. How you doing, Josh? Hi, everybody in chat. How's
I'm doing
everybody
good.
doing tonight?
I know we got a few people in the chat, so looks like we got some talkative people, so that's a good thing. Uh,
Yay. Hi, Sandy. Hi, Ormony.
yep.
Hi, Mud Rabbit. Joking.
Yeah. Well, that's a good idea. We might as well just start out with the shout out real quick. So first in the chat tonight was Sandy Diva, and we got Mr. Super Sidewinder, and Joe King, and Mud Rabbit, and Joe King, William Eason made it. Michael Fontaine in the studio has made it, and Ormine is here. Red Storm, hello, Red Storm. Thanks for coming. Thanks to everybody for being here. And LJ made it in here with the last. So that's what we got so far. So yeah, we got a good little crowd to start off with. So thanks for being here, everybody. This will be a fun one tonight. I'm interested in what you got to say, Sai. You got a lot of good information to share. So so what are we going to be talking about tonight?
So, tonight we're going to be talking about Western astrology. Western astrology started or dates back to ancient Sumeria. It's the alignment of planets and constellations that affect everything on Earth. So, it affects the nature, it affects water, it affects human behavior, even human appearance. So I've been studying astrology for 20 years, and I've been doing what they call birth charts for about 15 of those years. So basically, what it is when you're born at a certain date and at a certain time, the planets and the constellations are aligned in a way that can impact you, your personality, your feelings, everything, even to sometimes your home
Mm-hmm.
life and what you're born into. So, to people that have studied this for years, we see a lot of similarities in personalities when charts are similar and stuff like that. Um, doesn't mean everybody's the same. No, everybody is different because how they, when we do a birth chart, we go upon 30 degrees between each constellation. So that's why a lot of astrologers ask for the exact time you were born. Um, you could change it, it could be 1 degree off, which can
Yeah.
switch planets and everything else. So, um, the ancient Samaritans, when they started charting birth charts, or basically started charting planetary alignments, they did it to not necessarily to figure people out like we do nowadays. Um, but they did it more to see elemental things, like when was a good time to put your crops in, when's a good time to be on the water. And a good old saying was, if it's red at night, sailor's delight, red in the morning, sailor's warning. That all depends on the moon.
Right.
And that's how the moon impacts us. Tides, if the moon is close, tides change. If the moon is farther apart, farther away, or appears farther away, the tides will be different. Um, the
Uh,
sun illuminates magnetism and bursts of energy. And that's one of the ways the sun affects us. So it affects every aspect of everything living on planet Earth. And I know some people don't believe
yeah.
that, but I've seen it.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, it looks like we got a question already from LJ that kind of fits
yes.
into that. And the question is, uh, if someone is born a few months premature, will they be like their actual birthday or more like when they should have been born?
They'd be more like when they were actually born, because that's when it's said to impact. So it goes, that's why we ask for the time, the month, the year, and where you were born. So it all that of when you're actually born matters, not when they think or they
Right.
thought you should be born, or if you're born prematurely, or even if you're took a while to come out and you're born a couple weeks later.
Right.
It's when you're actually born. The interesting
Okay.
thing is like the different planets and how they affect us and which zodiac sign they control. Um, for those who are Leos, I know we at least got one Leo in chat. The sun is your planet, and that provides self strength and creativity, determination, inner authority. So that's what the sun controls. It's the self. But that's what it also gives to all of us. But Leos will be stronger in it because it is their planet. Um,
Hmm.
for cancers out there, that's emotions and roots, maternal instincts. That's why nobody really likes a full moon or eclipse.
Is that why people forget how to drive during the full moon? I swear around here, people go crazy when they get in their cars on a full moon. But anyway,
When a full moon happens, it's when they feel the most energy from the moon. So cancers in particular will be affected the most by it. Um, but that's why people get a little wonky. The moon is controls its emotions. It controls the water, That's why I guess they call Cancer a water sign, is because it's emotional and more motherly
Oh, right.
instinct. Um, Mercury, Mr. Virgo, and Geminis. So if we have any Geminis out there and Virgos, your planet is Mercury. Um, Thinking, communication, electronics, intellect, learning style, mental habits, and inner thoughts. When Mercury's in retrograde, don't sign any contracts and do not, and watch how you talk to people because communications can be skewed.
Yeah, I
Um,
need to keep a better eye on when Mercury is in retrograde, because I don't ever pay attention to that, and so I need to start watching that so that I don't know when or not to sign papers or do contracts, or I would be,
yeah,
yeah,
Mercury
it
and
might help.
electronics too. You might have problem with your electronics when Mercury's in retrograde. Um, Definitely wait till after the retrograde to sign any contracts or do any paperwork that has to get processed and stuff like that. It doesn't mean everything will go wrong, but it could be a word missing or something to that nature, or it might just be more difficult. Um, in communications with other people when Mercury is in retrograde, um, it may be taken wrong. So, just like you shouldn't have deep conversations through texting, you should do person to person, voice tones and stuff. During
Hmm.
Mercury's retrograde, if you mean something, actually say it the way you mean it and make sure the person understands how they're perceiving it the way you want them to. Next, we
Right.
have Venus for your
Hmm.
Tauruses and Libras. I'm a Libra. Any Taurus and Libras out there? Your planet is Venus. Harmony, pleasure, sensitivity, sensuality, love, and money. That's what that planet controls. Um, any Libras? I don't know. Any Taurus? They are, Libra is the romance, harmony, pleasure planet. So it really, people who are controlled by Venus usually don't like confrontation. And so if you meet a Taurus or a Libra, they don't like confrontation. It's better to have a more civil conversation with them than to get loud with them or yell or scream at them because you will lose their attention.
Yeah.
Let's
It
see.
looks like we have a Taurus. Joe King is a Taurus, and Mr. Super put Gemini. I think he's a Gemini, so we have a Taurus and a Gemini
Woohoo!
uh,
Gemini, Mercury.
listening.
And I can answer questions about individual signs um, generally. And I've said that on other streams. It's very general because I'd have to see your full birth chart to see all your characteristics. Um, but Taurus, nice to see you here. We both are controlled by Venus. Um, Aries, we had an Aries in here. Mars, action, energy. So people who are controlled by Mars, which is Aries, they'll be more energetic, usually have more energy, more courage, and very assertive. That's, but just because they control, I want to make this clear, just because they control a specific zodiac sign doesn't mean when the planet is in your zodiac sign that you won't feel that effect. So I'll take Mars with Aries, for example. It's a good one to use. If Mars is in your sign, your individual zodiac sign, you will feel a lot of assertiveness activity, energy, courage. Even though it's innate to those who are born in the Aries zodiac sign, you can feel it as well when it's in your chart. So when I say it controls a certain zodiac sign, it's the home of that zodiac sign, but that's not the only one that it affects. Um, Jupiter is Sagittarius. I don't know if we have any Sagittarians on here.
I have not seen any Sagittarius yet. I see a couple of
All right.
Aries, Mud Rabbit, and Bit of Venom, a couple of Leos, a couple of Geminis. So yeah, I've not seen a
Sagittarius
Sagittarius yet.
is controlled by Jupiter. Jupiter is happiness, optimism, expression, growth, understanding, education, and philosophy with faith. All right.
Huh. Well,
Your
Red Storm is a Sagittarius, so we got one.
oh, your
Sorry, go ahead.
planet is Jupiter. That is the one that controls you. That is the one that gives you the happiness, the optimism, expression, and growth. Probably very understanding, philosophical, and so on.
Nice.
Saturn, if you have any Capricorns, our Capricorn isn't here actually. I'm surprised. Buttons. Buttons is our Capricorn on every stream. But he's ruled by Saturn, and um, Saturn controls time. So if you feel like time's going faster than normal, it's because Saturn's in retrograde. It speeds up at that point in time. And let me explain to you what they mean by retrograde, because a lot of people may not know what it means. Retrograde is when the planet looks like, not that it's actually doing it, but it looks like it's spinning the opposite way. So sometimes when you look at planets, they look like they're going clockwise, and sometimes they look like they're going counterclockwise. When they're spinning the actual direction they're supposed to spin, they're not in retrograde. But it's not they actually spin, it's that they look like they're spinning in a different direction. And that's why they call it retrograde. So when Saturn is starting to retrograde or retrograding, time seems faster. There seems to be Saturn controls restriction and order and maturity. So Saturn's a strong planet. It's a harsh planet in its effects on humans on Earth. So when I say that, it does give restrictions. It doesn't give them in a nice way. It's kind of harsher. It's like you have
Yeah.
considered also the paternal of the zodiac, the father time, the father of the zodiac. He's kind of like very restricted, very orderly, very. Saturn gives us that, and it's controlled by or it controls Capricorn. But when Saturn's in your chart, if Saturn's in your chart or where Saturn falls in your chart, it will affect you as well. I thought you said we have Aquarius here. Do we have Aquarius
I
here?
haven't seen Aquarius yet. I
All
have
right.
not seen Aquarius yet, but we might have one lurking.
Aquarius is controlled by Uranus. Freedom, revolution, and originality. That's what Uranus gives to us. For those of you who have ever heard of, we are the dawning of the age of Aquarius, it could mean that Uranus is in Aquarius, or a revolution is happening, and they're saying it's because Uranus.
Interesting. You don't hear much about Uranus. It seems like a forgotten planet.
It really does. There are. I really feel like we focus a lot when I look at astrologers and people wondering about the zodiac. They don't really focus on a lot of the planets. They focus on the moon and the sun signs, but all the planets actually do give off energies. So, and they all really do affect us in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'll go over, like I said, I'll go over different signs and do a general about that sign. And then if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to ask.
Well, it's not quite a question, but Mr. Super
Or answer.
Sidewinder said something interesting, and I just wanted to get your
Yeah.
opinion on. He says these planets don't look at all as NASA would have you think, not physical objects, energetic beings. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have not done any research into whether um, how the planets look. I more have done my research on how they affect us and why they affect us. The amount of water in them affects us, and like just different elements affect us as well. Um, Bursts of energy, magnetism, different things. I've looked into that, but as far as how NASA, honestly, I haven't done the research into that to say either or. But I do believe,
Yeah,
like he said, they are energetic beings because they do give off energy, just like trees give off energy and plants give off energy and the water gives off energy. We give off energy. Like it does give off energy. So it definitely is a possibility.
yeah. So then, along that same lines, Bit of Venom asks, does the size of the planet matter as far as the energies?
No, it doesn't, because actually some of the smaller planets actually give off big energy. And it's kind of like I haven't gotten to it yet, but um, Pluto, and I know they don't consider that a planet anymore, but it is considered the ruler of Scorpios, and Scorpios are in general a big energy. So I don't think it actually matters how big the planet is. The dis
Huh,
the distance
interesting.
between might, but I haven't gone into all that, to be honest with you. Um, yeah, a bit of Venom, I agree. Pluto is still a planet to me. I don't want to pass over it, but this is one of our most important to those who see the Mandela effect and stuff. Neptune. Neptune rules Pisces, and that's fantasy, illusion, the spirituality, supernatural, and imagination, truth seeking, and the meaning of life. So, can I've noticed something when doing people's charts, and I can't say everyone, but a lot of people in which I did their birth charts, different years and everything, and different time spans and different generations. A lot of the Mandela effect people do have Neptune in Sagittarius on their birth chart, which is very interesting. It's a correlation between a lot of Mandela people.
Yeah. And so Ormane asks, Sai, how do you use this information in your personal life?
Um, how I react to people. That's how I use it. How my actions. with usually there are certain there are certain signs that don't deal well with how you approach them. Like it really is an approach thing with a lot of signs, and where you have to be more emotional and more sensitive towards some zodiac signs. Other ones want more hard truth. So it's all reaction, how I react to them and how I understand them. Um,
Right.
an Aries could do something and a Pisces can do something, and they could do the exact same thing, but they're for different reasons. And I can understand why the Aries is doing it, and I can understand why the Pisces is doing it. I react to them differently.
Right. Interesting. So it's just all about knowing knowing how things are aligned and what you should be doing at what time.
Yeah, like me personally, I'm a Libra, and we tend to deal with more truth. So if you're honest with us and tell us the truth, we're more likely to be understanding and see both sides of a situation. Whereas if you say that same thing in the same way to a Libra, to a Pisces or a Cancer, you're going to get a totally different reaction, and they may not enjoy it as well. So whether you can be a little softer on delivery with some people and other people, you can be a little. I look at people who try to soften stuff up as you're insulting my intelligence. I can take it.
Mhm.
I'm not weak minded. I can take it. Not saying that people that can't take it are weak minded, but
Yeah.
that's how I think that they're approaching me. Whereas you have to use a softer thing with a Pisces. You have to use a softer way of approach with a Cancer and a Scorpio and stuff like that.
Right.
Right.
Well, it looks like William Eason has a question. It says, I know this is about Western astrology, but I'm curious if you know anything about Chinese astrology and how they compare.
William, I have actually recently started looking into the Chinese astrology, but I don't know enough about it to speak on it. Um, I had somebody I that I've been having that question asked a lot. Um, how the two of them compare and what they do. I don't know enough about it to give that answer correctly. Um, I know they go by years, which to me is a little rough because the planets are aligned different. I don't really understand what their basis is. Like the Western is the planetary alignments. I don't know what the Chinese in their basis of picking the years, how that works.
Mhm. Yeah, right. Yeah, I do remember like seeing on like the Chinese like Chinese restaurants those placemats, and it had the different signs based on what year you were born as to what sign you were. Uh, I guess it never even occurred to me that that was different than Western astrology, but yeah,
Well,
interesting.
there are. It's very interesting. What I found interesting when being in astrology, and I am a psychic as well. I look towards like other prophecies that were made, like Nostradamus, and I forget her name. I can't remember it, but she was from the Chinese culture, and her and Nostradamus were in a line, used totally different methods of how they got their answers to what they were seeking, but they both got the same answers. And I don't know exactly how she did it. I know he did it biblically and through the alignment of planets, but I don't know where the correlation is there, but I'm sure there is one.
Yeah, just take a little digging into.
Yeah, it just takes a little more. But I would like to see actually, or at least look
Yeah.
into it, how the two of them correlate.
Yeah, I mean, I just, like I said, it never even occurred to me. Like I'm still kind of new into the learning astrology. Like I always liked looking at my sign, and over the years and reading my horoscope, but I never really knew what it was based in or where it came from or how it worked or anything. I just thought it was fun because it was usually pretty accurate uh, to me.
Okay. Yeah,
So I just always thought that was fun. Yeah.
I don't I don't put too much into like horoscopes, so to speak, but I do put into the actual alignments in the birth chart and what the alignments are for the day, the week, the month. And I can tell. I can usually tell like if we're going into a full moon and it's going to affect the cardinal signs, I can kind of hold back some of those emotions. I can kind of be like, okay, maybe reason with myself a little bit. So I'm not like, "Wah," you know, not like raging. Can you pull up, Josh, the birth chart image?
Yes. There we go.
Okay, everyone. So this is similar to what a birth chart looks like. This is what a lot of astrologers do by hand. So when we start at the middle of the circle, which is the point of the center of the North Pole. And we work our way out to see which constellations are at what degrees and what they call also as houses, and that's a degree within that constellation, and there's 12 of them. So this one's a little, I really, it's more complex than most because they drew a lot of different things on there. Um, some birth charts are a lot more simple to read and understand. But if you see here, the wheel around the edge tells the degrees. And there's 30 degrees between each constellation. And that's how it's measured in astrology. So everything's measured on the line that goes through the planet and the um, the constellation and what degree that's in.
Okay. So you're saying there's 30 degrees between the lines going from the inner circle to the outer circle.
So
Like the
um, between the constellation that represents Libra and Scorpio, there are 30 degrees. So there's 30 degrees between the two.
Okay, I gotcha.
And then when we draw a line where the planet, in what degree that planet is from that constellation at the time, day, and location that a person was born. I particularly can do a birth chart without the time. I just need the location. And there's our Capricorn. Hey, Buttons.
I was just about to say,
Um,
yeah, a Capricorn showed up.
our resident Capricorn. Um, but it's basically if we draw the line straight through the wherever it lands in the planet and the constellation, those are called houses. So, and that is where it affects you in your life. Like the first house is self, It could be your appearance, your self-awareness, um, how people perceive you, and then you can go all the way down to the 12th house, which is older age and endings and stuff to that nature. Know that birth charts do not tell you when you're going to die. Endings can be end of a relationship. Endings can be beginning of, or ending of a different cycle, and we'll get into that later. Um, any questions?
Um, I think we got them all. I think maybe there was one.
All right.
Yeah, no, I think. Oh, here, yeah, here's one we missed. This was from Ormane. It says, "Can a person escape their zodiac influence, or is it permanent?"
Because how do I phrase this? Where the planets were aligned when you were born is where they align when you were born. But when people say zodiac sign, they typically mean the sun sign. Keep in mind there are other planets that are in effect. So if you say escape your zodiac sign or you don't feel like your zodiac, actually you said that before, Josh. You said you felt more like a Leo and you're a Virgo.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, because I'm right on
it's
the cusp, like on the very first day. Yeah.
yeah. So I wouldn't say you can escape your zodiac, but your sun sign's not everything. It's not the whole makeup of who you are. So you may be, or nay, I don't know what sign you are. Um, do you want to put what sign you are? If you don't, that's fine too. But say if you are, I don't know, a Gemini, but don't feel like a Gemini, there might be something in your chart that's more prominent than your sun sign.
All
Does
right.
that make
Real quick,
sense?
bit of venom asks, how many houses are there? I think you said this, but
12.
12
There's
houses.
12
Okay.
houses.
All
And
right. And then Sandy has a question. But
sure,
go ahead. Finish your thought, and then we'll do hers next.
no planet is better than the other. No zodiac is better than the other. They all have their good points. They all have their like their not so good points. They both have learning curves. They both had like there's not one in the 12 that are better than the other one. And same thing with planets. So like you depending on what your zodiac sign is, you may get along with them better. Doesn't mean the other one's like not good. Do you know what I'm saying? They all
Uh
are
huh.
they all represent something and they all have a meaning and they all affect us in some type of way.
Yeah.
He said I'm a
So yeah,
super
Orme says he's a Sagittarius.
He's a super
Super
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius.
I don't know why you
Yeah.
would want to escape being a Sagittarius because Sagittarius are very good. Like they have some really good points to them. They are like very family oriented usually, and they are the life of the party. They love the party, they love to have fun, and very respected people. So I don't know why you'd want to escape that. Um, usually outdoorsy, you love nature, that kind of thing, which seems to be like you, Ormone. So if you're talking about temperament, that's another thing. But yeah, Sagittarius has a lot to offer. So I wouldn't want to escape it.
Hmm. All right. So Sandy's asking, when you find out about the Chinese zodiac, please let me know if it's bad that I'm a Leo dragon and that I'm a Leo/dragon.
Okay, well, first I want to say,
Because yeah,
Sandy, it's
I've
not.
never. Sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, I'm sorry. First, I want to say, Sandy, it's
Oh yeah.
not bad that you're a Leo. Leos bring creativity, imagination, strength. They have a lot to offer.
Yeah, I think earlier she said she was a Leo in both, the Western
Uh,
and the Chinese.
oh, well, maybe that just makes you more creative, more imaginative. Um, they usually have a lot of a but it's what she say, but it's all fire. Oh yeah, temperament. But that's something that can be controlled. That's something that you can learn to. I would like to see your birth chart, Sandy. I would be able to tell you more if you're interested. Let me know. Um, but it's like different things play different roles. It's not that bad in being a fire sign because they may have a temperament, but they also stick up for themselves, whereas some signs don't, and they get pushed around a little easier. And like Libras are non-confrontational, so they don't tend to argue with somebody. They either walk away or they hold it in until it goes pop, and then it just all floods the hell out. And then it's like, and the person can be like, damn, all I asked you is I told you I didn't like the coffee you made or something. And they're talking about stuff that happened like 5 years ago. So, like, it's not bad being a fire sign. They all give their own thing. Like, if you have, you know, fire, your Venus, the Venus planet is in your chart in fire, then you got hell of a romance going on there. Passion,
Yeah.
if you have, and so it's not all bad. And the temperament, I understand fire temperament can be a little heated at times, but like I said, it's also not good to hold feelings into your pop either, like Libras do, and Taurus. So it's it all depends. Um, Earth signs tend to deal with things on a very earthly manner. So they're we've heard down to earth plenty of times, right? I think that was the
Uh-huh.
saying of our times. Why can't you be more down to earth? Or I'm down to earth. They're grounded. So they don't let their emotions get out of hand and or their temperament get out of hand. Generally speaking, of course. Um, but they bring more of the grounding for other signs. Like you have air signs that are all up in their head. Air signs think a lot and they think almost constantly and they don't show it. So it's all inner dialogue, inner self type thing. And they come up with ideas but don't put them into play. Air signs are big at that. So having an earth sign helps ground them and say, hey, get this moving in a direction. Water signs, you know, you don't want to be emotionless. You want to have some emotion.
Yeah.
And so each one gives the intellect comes from the air signs, the grounding and getting things, calm down. You need the earth signs for that. Emotions, you need the moon or the water signs for that. And you have to be passionate about something. So we need the fire signs, and fire is action. So they get the ball rolling.
Yeah. So that kind of bit of venom has a question. He says, which zodiac sign should I avoid as an Aries?
I'd have to see your chart, but generally speaking, I would say stay away from Scorpios, um, when you're thinking of elements in the zodiac, think of what feeds you. So, like, your air signs will be your most, they'd probably be like best friends, someone you could joke around with, someone that you'd have fun with. Your earth signs would probably make you feel more grounded and more level-headed. And your water signs, they might feed your fire and your temperament and stuff like that a little bit more. So without seeing your birth chart, I'd say definitely stay away from Scorpios. Um, the backlash, Scorpios can have, you two won't have much in common. And then what you will have in common will be a force against you, both of you. So Scorpios are very like, they want to party and they want to like socialize. Aries usually not party people. Like they don't usually like a big huge crowd. Um, but where it would cause trouble is the spitefulness of a Scorpio versus the wrath of an Aries. Aries are very high tempered people usually, unless they can control it. So, we're also depending on their chart, but most likely they're going to have the higher tempers. And when the temper and the spite collide, it's not going to be good. So if you're an Aries, I'd say find yourself some air signs. They'll be right along with you.
Yeah, that was interesting when you did my birth chart, uh, and you were talking about who I was compatible with. That all was super fascinating to me, uh, about the compatibility between the signs. Uh, but I've got another question here from LJ. Sorry to jump around. Sorry, LJ, I missed it earlier. But it says more babies are born in some months than others. How does that affect things, or does that affect things?
Yeah, more babies are born in September than last time I checked, but that was getting it off of Google, so you can't really. But typically, it's like you just have more of that different signs. That's all. I don't really think it affects anything. Um, I want to answer Mud Rabbit. Yes, your BFS is a Scorpio, but I also read your chart, and you have a lot of Pisces, and that's why you get along with Scorpio. Um, that's what I said. It's very hard unless it's general, unless it's to do it generally speaking, it's difficult to say incompatibility. Like looking at a chart is better, but there are some similarities between signs and where they should, unless anything contradicts, get along or not get along when paired in a friendship or a relationship. Like, let's see. Let's see. Any more questions?
Um, I don't see. I think we got them all.
Okay. So I can go into, there was something else I want to touch on.
The upgrades.
I do want to touch on that, but not quite yet. All right.
Okay.
All right. I want to
Um,
go. So the elements are one way of classifying the signs. So you have your fire, your earth, your water, and your air signs. But all there is another category, which is called the cardinal fixed mutal category. And your cardinal signs are Capricorn, Libra, Cancer, and Aries. They are, and I didn't touch on this when I was giving before, but I'll touch on it now. When we look at the degrees in the Western zodiac, the starting point is always going to be Aries. So Aries is number 1 out of 12. And there's been some skepticism on that because the degrees that actually fall along the equator at 0 are either are Cancer and Capricorn. But they do always, so you may have some astrologists that use Cancer as number 1, and you may have some that use Aries. But generally speaking, most astrologists do use Aries as number 1. And that starts out out at the um, spring equinox in March, around March 21st, I think it is, or March 20th. Um,
Hmm.
Starts the spring equinox, and that's where Aries comes into play. So your cardinals are always the start of the element that they are in. So you think like more fiery, the start of spring, activity, acceleration, because it's controlled by Aries is controlled by Mars. So they are what they call cardinal signs are what they call the leader of the signs. They bring in the new. When the spring equinox hits, it's bringing in a new season. Libras are with the fall. They bring in the fall season. Capricorns are at the height of winter. They bring in the winter in January, um, and so forth. So the cardinal signs, they have their own representation, meaning that not only are they have what's in their birth chart, but they also have significant similarities. So the 4 cardinal signs similarities would be they're the idea bringers, they're the new, they're um, the new beginnings of cycles, and their loyalty is is a huge factor in what they do. So
Yeah.
with your cardinal signs, you want to be careful. They're dependable, but they're also focused highly on loyalty. But they are the ones that are going to bring in the new. They come up with the new ideas. They're going to bring in the new things that come up. Um, you have your fixed signs, which is Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. There is a little bit of controversy in the Western zodiac when it comes to fixed and mutable signs between Aries and Gemini, or not Aries, Aquarius and Gemini. And the reason why that is because there's some Western um, astrologers that feel that Gemini is more of a fixed sign than a mutable sign, and some astrologers think Aquarius is more of a fixed sign than a mutable sign. So they kind of bend back and forth. But I think the consensus is Aquarius is a fixed sign. I call fixed signs the teenagers of the zodiac. They go through some stuff. They're stubborn and they dig their heels in pretty deep, and they don't like change, and they are basically the ones that are like, no, we're not doing that. We're not. And the Cardinals are
Yeah.
pushing it forward like, yes, we are. And they're like, no, but it's change and it's ooey. No, we're not going to do that. Um, they are the signs, like I said, some astrologers call them the trouble signs because they are going to be a little more feisty in pushing anything forward. Mutable signs, which are Pisces, Sag, Virgo, and in this case, I'm using Gemini. Um, and the mutable signs are the more easygoing ones. So they're the ones that, yeah, we're doing this, and all right, we'll just kind of, they're kind of the chill signs. They're kind of chill, get along with everybody. So the mutable signs are more flexible, easygoing.
Yeah. Which signs you say that are the more easygoing ones?
It's um, Pisces, Sagittarius, Virgo, and Gemini. They're the more
Okay.
easygoing of them. Um, they're kind of like the, they don't really mind change. They don't see it as a bad thing. They don't fight it. They kind of lean into it. Um,
Yeah.
whereas the fixed signs are kind of like, no, no, oh, no, 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 we're not changing. I'm not doing that. Um, any questions? All right.
uh, I don't see. Yeah, I just see
Okay.
a lot of comments, but yeah, I haven't seen any new questions yet.
All right. EJ. I think you have EJ highlighted.
Oh, LJ. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, the chat's moving so fast, I forgot. LJ is asking, have Mandela style star changes affected things, or have you seen anything any Mandela changes with the stars or the planets or do you know what I mean?
Actually,
I
LJ,
think
that's
that's a
kind of
good
what my,
question.
yeah, that's a good question. And that's actually what a lot of people in the Mandela community, I wish they would show face instead of lurking. But that's what a lot of them have problems with, the people changes. And being in astrology as long as I have, and being able to pinpoint things, and I told you I've done it for a lot of years and done birth charts for a lot of years. Seeing the changes in people at the core of who they are is kind of disturbing. I'm not the only one that's seen it, and whether it's a different version of them, there's multiple, you know, theories out there on why or what made it happen or what's causing it. But LJ, that's a lot about what my channel is about. That's why I'm making my channel, because I do see changes in people that have me worried a little bit. When they first happened, when I first noticed them in 2016, 2017, I kind of stepped back and just became a watcher and watched their behavior and didn't say anything to them and didn't confront them. Um, but I was kind of like, that's not who you used to be. Um, so if you check out my channel, you, I only have 2 videos right now, but I plan to do more this week, or at least one more this week, um, and hopefully get up a live stream, and you'll be able to talk to people that have seen that type of change. All right, how are you keeping
Yeah,
up with
that'd be
chat?
cool.
Because
And just
this thing's the thing's going.
yeah, it slowed down a little bit, but just so that everybody knows, I did put your a link to your channel in the chat, and I pinned it up
Thank
to the
you.
top. So uh, yeah, go check out her channel that's coming out. Like I said, there's only a couple videos, but uh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you got uh, to share with us because yeah, uh, the personal style Mandela effects. Uh, I've always been curious about uh, and you don't haven't really found a whole lot of people who have those personal ones where they wake up and something's different in their house or with their family or with a loved one or something like that. Uh, you don't see it. Nobody's talking about that nearly as much as uh, the mainstream stuff. So yeah, I'm looking
Well,
forward
it was really weird because we
to it.
had channels. We had channels. There were a lot of channels that talked about that stuff, but they disappeared. It was really weird. Like They either stopped making videos and podcasts and doing live streams, or they kind of disappeared. So um, some of them were from Jay Chris's channel, which was also the 444 or You, Me, Us, or I Am. He went after different, he had all different type of names. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but Reggaeton Bonner was big on personal Mandela effect changes, but his channel disappeared as well. Um, so there were people, and that's actually when I first was introduced to the Mandela effect, that's what I noticed was changes in people, not necessarily changes in logos. I became aware of that as time went on and saw it. And but that's not what first initiated the Mandela effect for me. And there are people, they just don't, they're either busy, I guess, busy with their lives and not paying attention, or just felt like they had been left with nowhere to go. So they just gave up
Yeah.
on. I talked to a few of them recently that were like, they're like, yeah, they still see the changes in people and they still have personal Mandela effect. And I will say one thing, somebody said it in Sandy's, but I forget if it was Orne or who it was, but they were talking about personal Mandela effects hit differently. Yes, they do. They definitely do. They they are more emotional usually, and definitely some are a little not scary, like as in boo, but like scary as in what is going on. Um, they definitely do hit differently, and that's what my channel is about. I want to hear from people, help people, and give people a place where they can talk about that.
Yeah. That sounds awesome. Yeah, because it's so weird. I think we talked about this once before last time we talked, but it seemed like, because I think we got into the Mandela effect right around the same time that 2017, 2016. Um, but you found one set of channels, and I found a whole different set of channels, and it seemed like there was a split. Like, there was like half and half of these channels, and not a whole lot of people found both sets of channels. You know what I mean? So it was kind of weird thing. And then the ones that you found that talking about with your type of Mandela effect that you're talking about, um, kind of ended
Y-
up stopping, which a lot of the people on the other side did too. So yeah, we need more channels talking about the Mandela effect. So I'm glad that you're doing that. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I found it really when we talked about that, we're like, okay, it seems like there's two sets. Like it's a set, right? Two sets. Like
Yeah,
because I never knew about Sandy Diva, her channel, until recently. And I don't know if you ever heard of Reggaeton Bonner. But
right.
it's
No, I haven't
like
heard of any of the people that you'd mentioned. Yeah.
now Jay Chris was a huge community. It was really big. I forget how many subscribers he had at the time, but um he was he didn't do uh StreamYard or anything. He did Skype. So when he had people on his show, they did a lot of we called in, actually called a phone number, which was Skype, and then we talked to him. Um and he was on for several years. I think from 2016, I think he left in 2021 and 2022. And it was really hard for his fan base, his subscribers, because they didn't know where to go. They didn't know where to go. And I think some of them went to Brian Staveley, their channel, but the ones that didn't feel comfortable in, going on those streams really just kind of sat around and didn't like. We have Discord channels and everything, and they don't even talk on that anymore. I just think they kind of were like, okay, well, I guess nobody else is noticing this, or um, they're looking for something. Do you know what I mean? And I'm trying to provide
Yeah,
it, whatever it is. But I have showed them
yeah,
like your channel, Props channel, and Sandy Diva. So I'm hoping, and they have lurked at those channels. They told me they were lurking. So I'm hoping that they'll open up and actually come and talk,
yeah.
like actually say something,
Well,
because I
just
think
give it
they'll
time.
find,
Yeah,
you know,
let them get comfortable, and yeah, they'll speak up. I'm sure. I eventually did after 6 years. Like I was a lurker for 6 years on those channels, and I didn't start talking into the chat until Sandy's channel. So,
now
but I'm glad I did.
I know a couple people, like I know the mind from other streams. I know a bit of Venom too. And so there are some that are in common, but not as many. And I don't think, like, there's a few of them I see that I recognize. But most of the people that I've just met recently, within the past couple of months or whatever, I didn't know you guys even existed until a couple months ago. And a lot of you haven't heard of me
Yeah.
before recently too. Um, so I think we should talk about what you've been waiting to talk about. What do you think, Josh?
All right. Sounds good to me.
Upgrade, upgrade. So we have some our fixed signs, and I do include Gemini in that, even though it's controversial. Um, are going through upgrade, 30-year upgrade, or 20-year upgrade rather. I'm sorry, 20-year upgrade, and it started in November, end of November of last year. And cardinal signs just finished theirs. And when cardinal signs finish theirs, the fixed signs are now going through theirs. After the fixed signs are done, the mutal signs will go through it. So what the upgrade is, it's basically a cycle of which things can be difficult at times because it's pushing you in a different direction, or it's pushing you in some direction. So for those who've been kind of stagnant, that have thought of doing things but haven't actually done them, like your fixed signs, this is your time. You are going to be upgraded for the next 20 years. So choose which path you want to go wisely. Make sure it's really what you want, and think it, work towards it. You can achieve it. And this is your time. And it's basically um, it's different for everybody. Nobody has the same upgrade. But I can talk to a lot of cardinal signs. That's Libra, Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. And they all can say the same thing. It was difficult. There were times it was difficult. It was trying. It pushed us out of our comfort zones. Um, it really shoved us in a direction, even if we pushed back, and we're not pusher backs, right? We're the we're the cardinal signs. We're the ideas.
Mm,
So we're like, so, but it was even pushing us, like, you go this way, you don't go that way. And how it does it through life events, it kind of makes you go in a direction that you wouldn't think you would go. Um, so it kind of, and it's a spiritual journey, it's a physical journey. It it affects almost everything, honestly. Like, I haven't talked to one person where it just
yeah.
affected them in one area. So I can tell you I take better care of my health than I did before. Um, I moved in a direction I never thought I was going to move in. Like this wasn't even an idea I had. Like I don't know whose idea this one was, but it wasn't mine. Um, I worked towards something for a long time from the time I was a teenager, and I was kind of stuck in that mindset of that's where I wanted to go. That's how I wanted to go. And it pushed me in a direction that I didn't even think I would go. It wasn't even like a thought in my mind. But I can tell you this at the end, you are more peaceful. The things that I used to, it's a healing, basically, a healing process. Um, I've heard it
Yeah.
referred to as healing the inner child or, um, you know, setting your sights on something that you didn't think you could achieve. Um, a changing of like your physical, a changing of your emotional being, happier life, more content. And I can honestly say those that leaned into it um, came out a lot better than those that fought it. The people that fought it, that I saw fight it, they laid stagnant and they're not happy. And
Yeah.
those
Well, I mean,
that
that makes
leaned
sense.
into it, those that leaned into it and didn't do it gracefully by any means. I fought it. I tried to work around it. Um, I kind of tried to dodge it a lot of years. But
Yeah.
once I leaned into it, I became more content. It's peace of mind. It's for those that are struggling with like a lot of anxiety, fears, stuff like that. This will make you face that. The upgrade will make you face it. And how you face it, if you go into it with a positive mindset and a positive energy and you lean into it, you'll actually find yourself at a brighter spot than you were before. And I've seen the opposite for people who refused.
Yeah. So I got a question. It might be a dumb one, but when you talk about there's a 20-year upgrade and like what are the other
Well,
time frames?
I call the 20-year an upgrade um, because that's technically what it's trying to do. That's what it does. It's upgrading you to a more peaceful life. If you think about it, like, and I've noticed this throughout the past couple years, it's like with this upgrade thing, it's kind of like, okay, let's say, let's say, for example, you're a mutile sign, you're a Virgo. So your
Uh,
upgrade was right before the Cardinals. Your upgrade was around, um, let's see, 2020. So the Cardinals started in 2004, and then before that, so yours ended in 2004. If you look at what happened and what your life was like in the 20 years through your upgrade, you could see a difference in your life, major events, especially. Um, and that's why I'm focusing on the 20-year upgrade right now because there are trying times and I don't want anybody to get stuck. There's no reason to get stuck. It'll be better. It'll be better when you push through it. Other cycles are the 30-year cycle, which the whole world goes through. Then there's the 120-year cycle, and those are the ones I know about. Those are, but I also know about the planetary cycles. So, like Saturn go is that when Saturn started its point at Capricorn, which is the zodiac sign that it rules, it takes 28 years to go back to Capricorn. The moon cycles in sometimes 3, 4 days between zodiacs, so that's a quick change. Um, Venus can go 2 months between different signs and then go a year to 2 years. It depends on the year. So I know those as well. But as far as like major cycles, the 20 year, the 30 year, and the 120 year. And the 30 year
Okay.
is,
And so,
go
sorry,
ahead.
real quick. What I was wondering is when you say a 20-year cycle or 30-year, does that mean it lasts for 20 years or it happens every 20 years?
It
I
lasts for
guess is what
20
I'm curious
years.
about.
It lasts for 20
Okay.
years.
That's what I thought, but I wasn't
Yeah.
positive. Yeah. All right.
So the mutal signs right now, or not the mutal, the fixed signs, um, are going through their 20 year. That's their 20 year. At the end of the 20 year, the mutal signs will have their turn. And then it'll start back over with the cardinal signs again. And during it, it takes 20, it does take the 20 years to to fully complete the upgrade, as I call it. The upgrade does take 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, looks like the Saturn retrograde enters Pisces on September 1st. I'll have to look into that. It might enter Pisces. But we had been in Pisces for so long beforehand, for a couple of years. And that's why people that were in Pisces were looking for a job, or that are Pisces were looking for jobs, more interested in working, more interest or career changes, even um, job loss, which led to more career changes for Pisces during that time as well. When it goes back through Aries and then eventually will wind up in Taurus, um, they'll have a little bit different reaction. Aries are hard worker and action people anyway. So if anything, they'll be looking for like more of a promotional type thing. All right.
And do you want to explain retrograde real quick? Like I know you just explained it to me right before we started, but in case anybody doesn't know what retrograde is, I found that very helpful to know because I always wondered that all my life. Like Mercury was in retrograde or Saturn was in retrograde. I never knew what that meant.
All right. So when they say retrograde, what the actual retrograde is it's when the planet looks like it's spinning backwards. It's not that the planet's actually spinning backwards. It looks like the planet's spinning backwards. So when things go in retrograde, they go backwards. So when you're looking at astrology, the best way to understand that is when it's basically going back to correct itself. So when the retrograde goes into Pisces, for example, when Saturn retrogrades into Pisces, it's it's finishing what it needed to do. So however it affected Pisces, it's just the tail end of it. It's spinning off of it. So it's like, say, kind of like almost like a check-in. But when Mercury retrogrades, it's completely different than when Saturn retrogrades. So when Mercury retrogrades, that's when things get a little weird with electronics, communication, etc., etc. And
Hmm.
don't sign any of those legal documents until after the retrograde is over. Um,
Right.
any questions, anybody at all?
Um, not seeing any questions, but I did see Propagate This Light just hopped in. So welcome.
Hey, Prop.
Thanks for stopping by.
So if anybody wants a birth chart reading, I'm more than welcome to. I'd be happy to do it for them. Um, I also include the nodes which are high and low energy levels. It's when you kind of feel like you ever feel like you don't feel like doing anything, you don't feel like getting out of bed that day, whatever. That could be your node, your south node is kind of kicking in, or it's in your sign. So it all the nodes in the um, Lilith and the Chronos, which is Chronos has to do. I don't know really what you would call it. I guess you would call it like a um, why am I blanking out on it? Uh, it's basically not a constellation, but it's a point of where the rocks are. And I can't think of the word of it right now, but it's like a whole bunch of rocks that are in space orbiting. And that is said to have an effect on us as well because of the magnetics of it. And the Chronos actually affects more different people in different ways, but they usually has to do with wisdom and learning and a higher self introspection. The Lilith is the dark side of the moon, which is the darker side of who you are, the things that you don't tell people, um, the things that you don't necessarily may not like about yourself, um, the things you need to work on, and that's what Lilith points out. So I do those as well. There are the lines that you see in the birth chart, which are called contexts and sextiles. I don't go into that too much because they're very confusing, and how whether they're positive or negative doesn't actually mean positive and negative. It means masculine or feminine. So that gets all complicated. So I don't usually tell people too much about that, but I do look at them and take them into consideration when I do birth chart. So
Yeah,
if
and those are the lines in the inner circle.
yes, usually they are, but that
Okay.
was that one seemed a little jumbled for me to actually.
Yes. Yeah, it's very jumbled.
Mm. So if anybody wants a birth chart reading, or does anybody have questions on romance, compatibility? That's usually a big one I
Oh
get.
yeah, that was the fun part. That was the fun part about after we did my birth chart is finding like would and I wish I would have known this like 30 years ago. I could have saved myself a lot of troubled relationships with some ladies, but oh well, you live and you learn. But yeah. Anybody feel
Actually,
free to ask any questions if anything we're talking about, just put them in the chat and we'll try to get to them. So go ahead. Sorry.
I used to talk to this guy Sharky, for those of you who know Sharky, and he said he really believed that astrology should be taught in schools because there's so much to it, and there's so much that you can learn how to interact with different people. And like you said, save yourself some time, right? Some time, some money, and everything else.
Yeah. And so how would somebody be able to reach out to you to um, if they did want to see if you could do their birth chart?
I can't type in chat. Can you put my email in there?
Oh sure, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, yeah, they can email me. Um, I get back pretty quickly.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I just wasn't sure if if your email uh, was public out there, or if you had a different email just for stuff like this. So
To answer Sandy, yes, sure, yes, that's Sharky. Um, Ordinate, a birth chart does not tell your final fate. It may tell you a little bit about you, why you act the way you act, um, people you may attract, things you would exceed at, something you would need to work on behavior wise or something like that. But it's not going to tell you when you're going to die. It's not like that.
yeah, right. Yeah, I think you
And
mentioned that before. It doesn't mean you're going to die. It just means that something's going to change or
right,
something.
with and
Correct.
when anything that deals, it's the 12th house. So if you think about it, if it's the 12th house, it's the last house in that zodiac. So of course it's going to deal with endings, right? Ending of a cycle or ending of something. So, or ending of a behavior or ending even of a friendship or a relationship or something like that. It's, I think with astrology, but especially when it comes to psychic readings, please don't take everything as it's going to be negative because I've done this for a long time and usually it's not. I'd say 99% of the time, I'm not sitting there saying something negative in a birth chart reading or in a psychic reading. So please don't take it that way. Don't go into it that way, you know. And I'm pretty reasonable and cautious of how I phrase things. But sometimes I do not phrase them correctly, but I really try to. Would you say I said anything really negative in your birth chart reading, Josh?
Are you asking me if,
Yeah.
if I?
Would you, because I did your birth chart for you, would you say
Okay, yeah, you
that?
broke up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I didn't. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't notice anything. Uh, like, I mean, nothing really even pops out that was very negative at all. Like, I mean, there was just some, some truths that, I'm, some of my flaws, but nothing was, yeah, nothing was very negative that popped out to me at all. Especially nothing, you know, extra negative, like you're going to become homeless or you're going to die or anything. You know what I mean? Nothing like that. Yeah, it was all pretty. It was all pretty level.
How I approach birth chart readings is just about you. Like it's just about you, people you attract, stuff like that. It has nothing to do with your future. But because I am psychic, I do get stuff in why I'm doing a birth chart. So I'm how I phrase stuff psychically is more like, maybe you should take that road instead. Maybe this would be better for you. And that's either because I see like something that wouldn't make you happy, or maybe you'd be happier in that direction. But as you take it, again, and I've said this on several streams too, I drop the knowledge and I go. So I don't have any stake of whether you take my advice or not. It doesn't affect me anyway. I'm just trying to help. So I can give advice either psychically or with the birth chart or both. And you could say, well, screw it. I'm not doing it, right? I don't have to worry about it. And just do what you would normally do. So it's not
Yeah.
like and I also don't charge for birth chart readings or for psychic readings, but I am picky over who I read psychically, um, because that takes a lot of my energy. Birth chart readings take a lot of time, which I have plenty of, but psychic readings take my energy. Like I have to, I do them and then I get tired or I don't feel like talking to anybody for a little bit, or it takes more of my emotional energy and my mental energy. It uses up a lot of it, and then I have to regenerate. So I'm picky about who
Yeah,
I
I can
do
see that.
psychic readings for, but birth chart readings, even though I get some psychic stuff in why I do them, I don't. It doesn't it doesn't use up my energy. It kind of just like a take some time. Other than that, and sometimes they go really quickly, like yours did. Um, and sometimes they take a little bit longer. It depends on
Yeah.
how many questions people ask and how much detail they want.
Yeah, I was just a bit overwhelmed because I mean it was a lot of a lot of information coming at me, and so I was just kind of just taking it all in, uh, and yeah, so I the last thing I could do, I was just trying to follow along with what was going on. I wasn't coming up with any questions, so but uh, but yeah, no, it was super informative, and it's definitely worth doing. I learned a lot from that, so.
I think some people
But that does
also
kind
get a
of
little. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
go ahead. I was gonna
Some
say
people
that
also.
just brought me to it made me think of a question. Uh, see, I think we are on a little bit of a delay, but
uh,
um, but anyway, so uh, as far as when you were talking about it drains your energy, and it makes sense that because you're using your mental energy to do a reading or whatever, and it kind of made me wonder. Um, if there's any correlation with that too, like do you believe in the vibrations, like theories about us being on a certain vibration, and we can elevate uh our psychic awareness and stuff like that by getting to a different vibration level or stuff like that. Do you need what I'm talking about?
I think it's okay. How do I phrase this? I think it's okay to meditate and calm yourself down and align yourself and control your thoughts and your emotions. I think that's an awesome thing as far as digging into the supernatural when you're not supposed to be in it. And I mean it how I mean it, like we all have a curiosity, right? It's normal human
Uh-huh.
behavior. Um, but when you try to open yourself up to the supernatural, that can be dangerous. It can be dangerous for you. It can be dangerous for some of the people you're close to, because you don't know what you're opening yourself up to. I can say honestly, I've had my gifts my whole life. So it's like what the things that I've gone through in the past because of the supernatural, some of them have been really difficult and some of them have not been good or fun. I don't really think people should be go seeking that. And that's why I warn against it because it's like how I look at it. I am a Christian. I do believe in God. So I look at it as God gave me this gift for a reason, and I'm trying to do the best I can with it. Um, but when you go looking for it and you open the veil or you try to look beyond the veil, the curtain, however you want to phrase it, you don't know what you're letting in. And with not knowing what you're letting in, if you don't know how to control it or get rid of it, you have a problem that you didn't need.
Yeah.
So I don't really believe people should do that. But I say if you are going to do it, make sure you are with a psychic or a medium or someone of faith when you do it. Don't do it with somebody on YouTube. Don't do it with somebody over the internet. Make sure somebody's there that knows how to pull you out of it and knows how to fix it if things go wrong. Um, Otherwise, just realize that there's spirits all around. They're either watching us, interacting with us, whether you realize it or not. And they're not, it's not like, I think too many people, when they watch the horror movies and stuff, they think that that's exactly what they're going to get, or that's what everything is. But everything is not that. Not everything is negative. Not everything is a demon. Um, most aren't, actually. Most are just watching out for people that they care about or love, or just
Yeah.
are having fun watching people. I know a couple spirits that just like to lurk. They just want to watch. They miss being alive, so they like watching people have fun and being alive, and that's what they want to do. It's a choice they make. So it's kind of like one of those things that they're like, okay, you know. Um, any questions, anybody, about opening yourself up to the supernatural?
Well, prop just put in a question. Says, has anyone in the chat experienced telepathy? So yeah, that's a good one. I'm curious.
Why
As
don't
for
why
me,
doesn't
like I feel
he
like I have sometime. So go ahead.
why don't we give a full definition? Because some people might not know the difference between telepathy and stuff like that, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because some people might be experiencing it and don't know that they're experiencing it. That's why I'm saying
Right. Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I gotcha. So you want to give us that definition? You probably
I don't
define it better than
I
better
don't
than me. Mm.
telepathy.
Oh,
I would say it's passing thoughts from your mind to somebody else's mind, without saying anything or doing any actions. I think, or reading somebody's mind. Um, but there's also something that is happening, and that me and Sharky have pinpointed over the years that is we don't have a name for it because we don't know what to call it, but we call it the ABC thing. We came
mm,
up with, just make it easy, ABC. It's ABC thing. And I don't know if it's part of the Mandela effect, or it's just there's a lot of supernatural stuff that is happening, that has been happening, um, for the last 6, 7 years, that the supernatural seems to be, it's almost like somebody opened the veil on the whole world. It's really weird. So,
yeah.
or tried to shimmer a little bit of the veil over the world. But um, the ABC thing is when person A, say yourself, says something to person B, have a complete conversation with person B, and then person C, who doesn't know person B at all, comes up and says something to you in that conversation, but had no idea you already had the conversation.
Yeah,
So,
right.
like, say, like, if I had a conversation with you, and then somebody who didn't know me, or didn't know I was on your stream, didn't know anything about me, came up and said to you the same thing I said to you. There's a lot of that happening.
Yeah.
I had somebody, um, s- I've had multiple instances where it happened to me, actually. But Sharky had multiple instances where it happened to him. Has anybody experienced that? It could be a
So you're
stranger
saying
that
you're
comes.
saying that's like a form of telepathy? Because like when I hear that, like I think of more of like a sync, like a synchronicity. Uh, but I
It could
never
be
thought of it
along
as
it could be along the lines of telepathy because it's something they're not witnessing. So are they reading your mind, or are you throwing it out there? So, like, when somebody tells you, are you being like a speaker, and it's going to somebody else that doesn't even know that you had that conversation before? Or is it that that person's reading your mind, like a telepathy thing? I've heard of it happening over. I've never heard of it happening until the last 7, 8 years. So I don't know if anybody here experienced that. And I don't mean like you're watching one stream and one stream says the same thing. I mean, it could be a complete stranger that comes up to you that doesn't know you and says the same thing to you that you just said to somebody else or they just said to you.
Yeah.
Like it's a weird thing that happens. I don't know if it's an Orion thing.
Mm. Yeah, I would be a little freaked out if that happened to me. I mean, if I was talking to somebody about something and then they left and somebody else walked up to me and said the exact same thing, that yeah,
It
I wouldn't
does
be
weird
quite
you out
sure.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Eh,
for sure.
It is like weird but people that like I'm used to it now because it's been going on for a couple several years now. So it's just a observation to me. Now, when it first started happening, I was like, huh? And I noticed that like it happened to people that even aren't Mandela affected. Um, and they get quiet when it happens, like, and then they ignore it.
Yeah. Well, do you think that um, people who are Mandela affected are more or less likely to be open to psychic abilities or telepathy or stuff like that, or vice versa? People who are uh, in the psychic community are more uh, open to see Mandela effects, or you think there's any correlation with that at all?
I do. I think that the Mandela affected people have either, now I don't think they all have abilities, but they could be open to something or something made them wake up. Like for some people, it could have been like a jolt awake, like a jolt to where they started noticing things because something in the spiritual realm woke them up or God. I
Yeah,
have like if you know I believe that God does wake people up to see things. So I do think I don't think they all are psychics or they all have telepathy or they all have something, but they're probably more open than the ones that aren't. They're
yeah,
kind of like and I've noticed too the correlation between people who remember as a child being like whether it's scared of something going bump in the night or they knew something was off or a lot of those people became Mandela affected people.
mm. Yeah. I don't know. I'm still curious. Like, I'd love to find out the answer as to why some people can see the Mandela effect and other people can't. Even though the people who can't see it or deny it or whatever, that they're Mandela affected because you ask them a question. And they answer it, the correct way or the way that it used to be, and then they immediately take it. And so, like, I always wondered why um, some people see it and accept it, and some people don't, and uh, there was any correlation with uh, other abilities or other types of
The
things. That Yeah, that's
supernatural.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
there is, and that's why I said like a lot of people in the Mandela effect community have Neptune and Saturn. It's a shared, um, or not Saturn, Neptune in Sagittarius, um, and it is a shared kind of like it seems like every birth chart I've done recently for people in the Mandela effect community, most of them, if not all of them, have Neptune and Saturn. And Neptune is finding out truth, fantasy and illusion, and spirituality. So I think there is some correlation there. There definitely is. There's something between the stars, the supernatural, and people that correlates that. I think you also had Neptune and Sagittarius too. I have Neptune and Sagittarius. A lot of people that I've done charts on in the Mandela affected community have Neptune and Saturn, or Sagittarius, not Saturn. I'm
Yeah,
saying the
that's better.
wrong words, but Neptune and Sagittarius. So it's interesting with the birth charts. It's coming up as there's a correlation there in like what I've heard from people from when they were younger. They either had an interest in the supernatural or they were afraid of the supernatural as a child, or they seen ghosts, or they seen something that they knew was just off when they were a child. Did you have any experiences as a child with the supernatural, like ghosts, or afraid of anything, afraid of the dark, afraid to sleep at night, that kind of stuff?
Not really. I mean, like I've thought back about it, and like I did just like I was so passive as a kid and just believed everything, and like I never messed with anything too spiritual because growing up in the church slash cult is what I call it, that I grew up in. um, they taught us that this kind of stuff that we're talking about, astrology and psychic ability, stuff like that, is bad and evil, and don't mess with it, or you'll get possessed, or I mean, like far extreme, like fear tactics. And so like
Yeah.
and I was just like the past little kid, and so like I didn't even like think about that. I really never looked into it until I was about 30, I met my when I met my wife, and she was all into it, and so she got me interested in it. So yeah, as a kid, I just was, I just went along and was just a passive little kid. So I don't have any kind of memories of stuff like that.
Yeah, I
But
noticed that
we
with
do have we
the
do have one more question. Uh,
sure.
Sorry, go ahead, finish your thought, and then we'll ask pushing buttons question. Uh,
I was saying that I did notice that circumstances like that happen throughout the people that are Mandela affected had seen ghosts or thought they seen ghosts as a child or had some form of something happen to them like supernaturally and um in their life, and that's at least when they were children, and they have the Neptune in Sagittarius. So there is a correlation somewhere. I just haven't pinpointed exactly what it is yet.
yeah, and yeah, it doesn't sound like an easy thing to do, just pinpointing.
Yeah, really, you can. It's really a hard thing to do because it seems like even like when I first noticed the Mandela effect and I knew something was going on and I knew something was wrong and I looked at every which way. I looked at cycles, I looked at planetary alignments. I went right to what I've known for years, and that's um, astrology. And then I went into it deeper into the supernatural, and I was like, okay, but I can't pinpoint anything. And when I think I do have it pinpointed, something else adds in to it that doesn't make sense. That makes it go. So I go on the premise if God wants you to know, you'll know. And if God doesn't want you to know, you ain't going to know. So,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. All right. So here, we'll do one last question, and I can't believe it's been almost 2 hours uh, that we've been talking. It seems like we just got on here like 20 minutes ago. Uh,
I know
but thankfully,
this went
I
quick.
think Sandy's show um, is set for 12:30, so we got a few more minutes. But I wasn't sure if there was anything after after Pushing's question, if there was anything else that wanted to follow up with, and then uh, I probably end up closing this out. But Pushing Buttons asks,
Okay.
why do synchronicities occur much more frequently when dealing with certain people.
It could be they're open. The veil is lifted a little bit. There's degrees of the veil lifting. So you can like it could lift a little bit and there'll be a connection there between the two people. Um, it can be like just that you're sharing energy together because you can pick off of somebody's energy. Um, I do a lot of that in psychic readings. I pull a lot of I pull the person's energy to see, you know, different things and to control the messages that are coming into me just directly to that person instead of anybody that might be around them or somebody they hang out with. It's pinpointing energy. So we do share energy between each other when you interact with somebody a lot. So it could be you're just on a like energy sharing thing, or it could be
Hmm.
that um, you both have the veil lifted a little bit and you have that in common. Does that make sense?
That does make sense because I mean I agree.
Yeah.
People do broadcast energy and at different levels even. So like you might be at stay at a consistent level, but some person's putting off more energy and they're easier to feel even if you're not paying attention as much as somebody else who's got it all shut down or it's just not as much. So yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
So I think like I said, there are and this doesn't have to do with astrology, it's more psychic, supernatural stuff, but there are degrees of the veil that can be lifted. And that's when you get like telekinesis, telepathy, telepathy,
Hmm.
different things. And all of them there's a reason why you have it. So just like there's a reason why I'm a psychic, there's a reason why people are empaths. And most of the time it's to help somebody or help people along the way. So if
Hmm.
you find yourself anybody finds themselves in a situation where they find themselves telepathic or kinetic or um, anything like that, it's usually you're supposed to use it to help people, not just to help yourself, but to help people in general.
Yeah.
It is a gift, and sometimes it's not easy, and some people can't handle it, and that's why I say, and when I say can't handle it, I've seen people that haven't made it out of it in a positive way. So just don't go looking for it. If you're meant to have it, you have it. If you're not meant to have it, you're not. And there's a reason. And I've said this to people that have asked me to open them up to the supernatural. I'm like, is there any reason why you think you don't have access to that? Like maybe there's a reason.
Mm.
Maybe there's something there that, and if I do pull, if I do help somebody open themselves up to the supernatural, I do also help them close themselves up to the supernatural. So there's always a way to close it. It's just getting a person that knows how to do it. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely want to make sure that that you're doing it with somebody who's what they're doing.
Definitely. I've seen too many people play with like spirit boards and different things like that. I don't suggest that stuff. I really don't, because you don't know what you're pulling in, and you don't know if you
Yeah.
can get rid of it or how to get rid of it, and or what it's going to attach to. And unfortunately, in those who deal with the supernatural know this. If it can't get to you, it'll get somebody to somebody close to you or somebody you love.
Yeah.
So you're not just putting yourself at danger, you're putting other people at danger too. So unless your God gave you a gift or gave you some type of gift, don't go playing with it.
Yeah, right. And unless you learn about it and how to control it and stuff, I would imagine. But yeah.
Yeah, unless you know how to control it. You got to know how to shut it down. You got to know how to protect yourself, how to protect those around you. Um, I've had some really, really bizarre stuff happen that I don't think other people would want to go through. So you kind of leave it alone. And if you're meant to have it, God will give it to you. And you might not have it from birth, but He may have given it to you after when you're ready. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Any other,
If you're not ready for it, then uh, yeah, you shouldn't
yeah,
have it. So
if you're not ready for it, then
yeah. Well, I don't see any other questions. Was there any other topics that you wanted to touch on real quick, or did we get through the
I think we
list?
got through a lot of it. We got through a lot of it. Like I said,
Yeah.
anybody wants a birth chart reading, just email me, and please be able to either talk on Discord, do StreamYard, or willing to give your phone number. I do call with a blocked number because I don't want people calling me all the time. I have already had that situation where I did give my number out to a couple people online, and they know I'm psychic. So every time they wanted to ask about what shoes to wear or whether they should date this person or that person, they were calling me. I do have a home life. I do have a husband. I don't want to be bothered when all day and all night.
Mm. I don't blame
So
you.
I will call somebody on the phone if you're willing to give your number. I just call from a block number. Um, I'm more than willing to, but any readings, birth chart or other, I do have to talk to you one on one. So I have Discord. If you have StreamYard or when I get StreamYard, we can do it that way too. Just be able to talk and have at least an hour to 2 hours, depending on how many questions you have. I said
All
yours
right.
went
Well, I'm
fast.
gonna put your yeah. All right. I'm gonna put your email back in the chat again since it got buried. But don't forget to go and check out her channel. It's getting started, and that link is pinned to the top. Uh, so go check her out and give her a like, and uh, you'll have some new content coming out soon. You said.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do a video this week. I'd like to. I already touched base on Sagittarius versus Orion. Like to hear more from people that have experiences, so that video is already up. Um, but I think I'm going to do a video on what happens when your loved one changes or people you know or you're close to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sounds like a good one. Because I think I'm experiencing that with my mom now that I think about it over the last uh, couple months. I think I told you a little bit. A lot of people know about what's going on with her and her dating that guy in prison, and
Mm,
that was totally different than from her. And so either I shifted or she shifted, or maybe both of us a little bit or something. Uh, but something's different about her that because she would never in the 76 years that before this she would have probably never done this even thought
mm.
about it. Now she's gung-ho. So yeah, so I'm interested in the personal ones like that for sure.
Okay.
So
Well,
all
I'll
right, well,
definitely
let's
do a video.
sorry, go ahead.
I
Yeah.
said I'll definitely do a video. I can't wait to do some live streams. So as soon as I get 50 subscribers, we will be, and I hope you will join me on the live streams as well. I'd appreciate
Oh,
it.
sure.
And
Yeah, absolutely.
all right, everybody. You guys have a
All
good
right.
night. I'll
Well,
probably see you over at Sandy's.
Yep. I got like 20 minutes, so let's do a quick shout out real quick, and then play out with the song. So if you haven't talked in a while, say hi, because I can only go back about uh, 45 minutes. So the first one I got here is Bit of Venom. The Mind Says, Sandy Diva, of course, uh, Ormone, Red Storm, LJ's here, Pushing Buttons was here. I got Sandy the Mind, William
Prop.
Eason, Propagate was here, Mud Rabbit, still looks like she still might be here. Little Cam 51. Ken Raz was here. Yeah, thank you guys all for being here. It was a great show. Let us know what you think. If you think of any other questions after the show, put them in the comments, and uh, I will see if I can get them forwarded over to Cy. And all right, well, looks like we're getting there. There's Prop, Little Cam. I need to be able to scroll faster. So yeah, so if you haven't talked in a while, oh wait here. Oh, say hi. I'll get you at the end when I get down to the bottom. And sorry if I missed anybody, but I think that's it. Oh, Splatter just showed up. He's lurking. So Splatter is the final. So all right. Well,
Jeannie
thank
and
you so
Astral.
much for coming on. Who did I miss? Oh, Astral Fugitive.
And
Yeah, it looks like they popped
Jeannie.
in. Is this been? What am? Oh, Jackie. Is that her? You're looking at Jackie McCarran?
I thought it was Jeannie Eversale or something.
Oh, Jenny Eversole.
I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's my ex-wife. That's I didn't even see her. Uh, oh wow, that's cool. She's the one who got me into interested in this whole type of thing. Back 20 years ago, 22 years ago, maybe, when I met her. So, but yeah, I don't know how I missed that. But all right. Well, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate all the chat, and thank you, Cy. Uh, it's crazy how when we talk, it's just like time flies, and next thing you know, it's 2.5, 3 hours gone by, and
Right?
yeah. But yeah, anytime you get ready for your lives. I know you said something about 50 subs, but if you can get the computer figured out, I don't think you have to have there. I don't think there's any limit on um, how many subs you have to stream from your PC. It's only your mobile phone that you have to have 50
Oh, okay.
to stream
I'll
from.
have to see if I can
So
figure out the
uh,
computer.
yeah, Windows 11 sucks.
It really does.
Yeah. But all right, guys. Well, sorry, I actually don't have a song set up, and since StreamYard changed everything for the free account, I don't even have a little outro song. So we're just gonna have to end it boring. Thank you all for being here, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. You want any last things you want to say, Sai?
Everybody have a good night. That's not going to be on Sandy's, and I'll see you over at Sandy's for those who are. Have a good night.
All right, sounds good. Good night, everybody.